Hello and welcome to episode 29. iOS 14.5. What the fuck? Today we're discussing everything that we don't have the answer for. So take it all in, enjoy it, and I really hope you get something out of this. Matt, morning, afternoon, 2:18.
Yo, it's 18 minutes past 2.
Not morning.
We usually
How
do
are
it in
you?
the morning. We usually
We
do it in
do.
the morning.
We do
But,
indeed.
why not shake things up, keep it interesting?
Exactly.
I mean, it's going to go out the same time on the podcast as it always does, but we're live in the group a little bit later than usual. So, hello,
How you doing?
anybody that's watching. How are you?
Pulling your hair out at all? What's left of it?
Getting there. I've noticed a little bit on a slight slope today.
I went too short. For anyone who's watching, I went too short last night. I said I want a centimetre off. I think I should have gone for half centimetre.
Oh no, I think it looks good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Appreciate that. I think I'm not used to it with the whole lockdown thing. It's just been longer for a long time. I think that's what it is.
I know it's funny, like you've embraced long hair and I've embraced cutting all of mine off.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to mine coming back.
That shit cray, yeah. That shit cray.
Yeah.
Glasses off because you see the. There we go. There we go. Right. So let's dig into this. As of last week, wasn't it Monday? iOS 14 kicked in. 14.5, the new edition. The one we've all been waiting for. And it's all gone a bit weird, hasn't it? And like I said on the title of this intro, it's like we're going to have all the questions and no answers because there aren't really any answers. We're seeing other people that we follow in this industry, some of them pretty major people that we probably follow, and they're even going, what? Like, what's going on? And you've especially found it because you write our data studio stuff, which is for the people listening to this. We obviously sit in Ads Manager all the time, but our clients, Matt, about 6 months ago, you made unbelievable data studio reporting based on really easy to use. So all our clients at every level can use it. And it basically pulls everything from Facebook, like mirrors it, doesn't it? It's standard reporting. But as of since iOS 14.5, none of it's tallying up. So we've got clients who are now going, what the hell's going on? How do I do this? So we thought, what better time to actually go through what we're seeing, and even though it's still not going to report how you want it to for a period of time, what you kind of need to do to understand your business metrics a bit better.
Yeah, I think the main thing is at the moment, it's just we're going through that period at the moment where it is just all changing over, so it's hard to know really what's going on. And I think what I want to kind of tell everybody is to not like act too quickly with like changing up their ads and stuff. Like make sure that you look deeper into the data before doing that. And I think it's a case of like looking over. So, we always look at all of the metrics. So like, the actual goal. So if it's like acquiring a lead or a customer, but then also like CPMs and click-throughs and link click costs and stuff like that. But I think it's even more important at the moment because more often than not, you'll just be kind of like looking at Google Ads Manager going, okay, so yeah, like, I'm still getting leads, I'm still getting purchases, like the ROAS is where it needs to be. But we are starting to see that drop off with some clients now. So then it's a case of looking at the other metrics. So, lead gen client the other day, cost per lead has gone up. But then when I look at the click-throughs and the landing page views and all of that kind of stuff, it's all still where it was or better.
Yeah, so logic would say you're not going to suddenly have half when everything else is the same and it has been for 6 months.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong. Obviously, I could still be sending traffic over that's not right, and then they're just not converting. But I think that's a bit too much of a coincidence because that it's been working consistently, and then all of a sudden it just drops off. Now, I know that people that are seeing massive drop-offs like that, but then also people are seeing like an increase in performance. So like that's where at the moment it's just so like up in the air.
Yeah.
So yeah, like that's my kind of first thing really is don't just suddenly decide that your ads aren't working, because in this particular case, it might just be that now that lead is not feeding through into Facebook Ads Manager. So then it's a case of really keeping an eye on all of the data in your CRM or in Shopify if you're ecom. So you're using actual like lead data coming in or actual purchases compared to then what you're spending on Facebook.
Yeah. So because it's not just Data Studio, I've been seeing that Supermetrics is, you know, a piece of tracking software that kind of tells you, well, those sort of software is a bit like Hyros. They've been designed to, because their argument is that Facebook has never, according to them, given you true, which it probably hasn't, a true reflection of what's actually happening on a website, because the articles I've been reading lately are about the modeling behind Facebook, things like that. So, you know, it's a very, very clever computer, but, you know, some people are saying, well, is the modeling right behind the return on investment and all this sort of stuff? So no one's moaning when things are fine. It's like everything in life, isn't it? You moan when something's wrong. You know, business is great and you're doing loads of cool stuff. Business becomes hard and you question every single outgoing. It's the same kind of thing. But the fact of the matter is that you know, there are some very influential people in marketing who are looking at their own stuff and going, what? None of this makes sense. But we've got to remember, this is what, 7 days, 8 days into the change? Like, this is a huge thing for Facebook. This isn't like, oh, something little's happening. This is 40% of the people. Is it 40 or 60% of the people who use Facebook are on our iOS? Is it 40% of people? 60. I don't know. A shitload. So, because every single day we go into Ads Manager and we're seeing a new change, aren't we? So there's something else there. I noticed I was uploading some images and videos the other day and they've just changed the way they've done that. So it's all things that are going to be adapted to help marketers deliver what they need to deliver and advertisers get back the return. I think we've just got to be really patient on if you still, you know, because the other thing is which we've been going on for ages, which is the attribution window, which is now a 7-day attribution window, and that's been in effect since Christmas, opposed to a 28-day attribution window. So basically, to reiterate, if Joe Blogs goes onto your website, sees an ad, clicks onto the website, cookie fires, and then he decides that he's going to come back for whatever reason, he's seen a retargeting ad or no, not a retargeting ad, because it can't be a retargeting ad because then the cookie's fired again for another 7 days. So if he goes away for whatever reason, I do it all the time. You know, I'm in a new house. There's things I want to buy for the new house. I've been meaning to get blinds up at all the windows for ages, but there's something else I'm coming in front of me spending my money. I could have seen that ad 3 months ago on Facebook. If I suddenly now go back, so basically, if I now go back to blinds to go or whatever they're called, I'm not going to get picked up in any of the platforms return on ad spend, even though I may have seen an ad in the first place because I've gone past the attribution window. 28 days is a long time for a consumer to be on something, see an ad and make a decision. 7 days isn't long at all. So if we're seeing, from an ecom point of view, it might be that the clients said, I've got 30 orders this week, but you're telling me I've only had like 16. That's because the attribution window has stopped at 7 days and the further 14 orders happened after the attribution window and the cookie's been deleted.
Yeah.
That's it. So it's, I would actually, logic would say that the client's always actually going to have more orders or leads than we're seeing, wouldn't it? It should always be on the positive.
Yeah, definitely. And I just think it's, and this is where business owners should be really on top of their tracking, like not relying on Ads Manager.
Yeah.
Like you can't just rely on Ads Manager. we're going to be at a bit of a disadvantage going forward because it's not going to be as accurate in terms of like what audiences are performing well in order for us to optimize. So from that point of view, as for advertisers, and I suppose any business owners that are also doing their own ads, that's going to become a bit more of a challenge, and we'll have to just work out how that goes. But I think in terms of just kind of like as a business owner, money out, money in, then you need to be tracking that outside of Ads Manager, which if you're doing multi-channel marketing, that is going to become a little bit more difficult than if you are a small business and really right now all you're doing is Facebook ads. Then that's a lot easier to just go, right, in April I spent this amount on ads and this is how much my company made. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I've got a positive return on investment. What kind of happened in between, and like, you know, it doesn't really matter to me because, you know, that marketing channel is working and I've come out with a positive return on investment. If there's bigger companies out there, it's going to become more challenging when, you know, they rely on lots of different channels and kind of being able to demonstrate their return on investment for each of those is going to be a little bit more difficult. And right now, I don't think there's a solution, because like when you then look at you know, like the example you gave around Google Data Studio, like we're working through that now. Like, you know, that is just an API that pulls in from Facebook, but then Facebook changed a lot of its API settings recently. So for example, if anyone is using Data Studio out there, what I found today is that the configuration of the reports just needs to be changed, because if you look in Ads Manager now, you'll notice that before it may have just said purchases or it may have just said leads, but now it says website purchases, website leads. And that simple addition of website is why our Google Data Studio reports weren't working, because it's looking for the wrong name. Okay. So we've had to go through and update all of that. However, there is still a discrepancy in the data now that we've done that. So that is, I guess, just a period of change that we're going through, because whilst the like ad spend say is the right amount, so we know that we've got like the right date range, it's not like we're filtering it in the wrong way or anything like that, the other things across the columns are not adding up. So
that's one step further than it was on Monday with our conversation, Tuesday.
Yeah, step further, but still a bit of a discrepancy. And you mentioned about supermetrics, and at the moment it's just a case of like waiting it out and seeing if
so is that is the client from that example, is the client seeing more leads than we're seeing?
Oh, so we haven't had that conversation. I'm just comparing.
Oh, so you're just going from Facebook to Data Studio?
Yeah,
just the two of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my thing is that let's say we're going on the 7-day attribution window, and the client has more leads or more orders than we're seeing, but they've still spent 200 quid in a week. Yeah. So 200 quid a week, but they're seeing more orders than we're seeing. Then essentially, if our ROAS is saying they've done 6 ROAS, they may have done 8 if they work out themselves.
This is the thing, and that's where Facebook is going to make the results look not as good as they actually are.
But this is where it's going to modeling as well.
Yeah.
So this is where they're going to bring in. This is where the article I read last night is all about, and it's going very in depth. Is okay. So if in time X amount of people are opting out, and bear in mind, guys, this is a seriously powerful company with what? I was trying to be all serious then, and you got it completely wrong. This is a seriously powerful company with basically the most intelligent computer in the world, and the most intelligent people on this planet are working for these companies. So what they want to do is they're going to say, okay, if 30% of people on average by now have opted out of letting their data go back to Facebook and other platforms through iOS, and you're still spending 200 quid a week, but the return on investment says you've had 50 orders and it was a 6 times return, but the clients actually had 76 orders. Facebook are going to try and model it so that the ROAS still attributes for the orders that the client's actually taken, if that makes sense. Which is really clever stuff. But what people are saying now is, well, how do we know the model's right? How do we know that's accurate? Every business is different, but I don't know. I mean, these are powerful systems, aren't they? Like we've talked about that program on Netflix, The Social Dilemma, when it's talking about, and it's made it into the most human-friendly way of watching something about how a computer algorithm works. But it's seriously in depth. I mean, it's crazy, isn't it? How a computer can work these things out.
That's just something we're going to have to just wait and see what that looks like. And I think just having really, good conversations with clients to just make sure that, the data, that they're just keeping a closer eye on their end, getting their ducks in a row. Because just literally logging into Facebook Ads Manager and saying this isn't working, that's not working, is very likely not going to be true anymore. So yeah,
I think for anyone listening to this because we do have a lot of people who listen to this and everything who are just coming into Facebook ads. If you don't know what we're talking about and you've only just started or about to start, I wouldn't worry because you're not going to know any difference.
Exactly, you're in a better place.
Just go with what you see now and go, oh, I don't even remember what this past was like that everyone's stressing about. Then just go with it. And if you can get your ad account saying you're making 6 ROAS and you're spending 200 quid and you're getting 1,500 quid back, happy days. And you see with iOS 14.5 in a news article or something, just ignore it. Don't bother listening.
Completely agree. I'm going to have a little rant about something in a minute.
Go on
then. First of all, though, I just wanted to I think we've got 3 people that are watching us live at the moment. So I would be keen for those that are listening, watching, is just to pop a comment up, just to let us know that you're there. Just say hi. And if you have any iOS, hola, yeah. What's your name and where do you come from? And if you're currently experiencing any iOS 14 crap, or if you've got any questions. I don't like that Facebook and Instagram put out that message that said basically opt in so we can keep Facebook and Instagram free. I think that's a bit naughty.
I know.
That's scaremongering, that is.
And do you really think, I mean, no company wants to make any losses and they've got their shareholders. Do you really think the impact's going to be that much?
Hi, Charlie. Good to have you, mate.
They're that desperate?
I just think they've made probably like 50 billion in Q1 of this year. Like, I don't think they're really going to notice. Or they're not, they'll probably still be able to make massive profits through Android anyway. So they don't need to charge. They do not.
That's the thing. We've had conversations before now where we think, okay, well, let's knock out iOS. I mean, it's going to be interesting. So that one client we do, which we do the iOS app, don't we, for them, and they've turned those off at the moment because they need to put an update. And the reason they need to update is because since last Monday, it meant that they have to go to version 8. So anyone who's basically selling an app on Facebook, you have to be on version 8, which means you need to go back to developers and redevelop the app again. All these things. It's just a pain in the ass for everyone, isn't it? But we have to do it. We had a big meeting with them on Zoom the other day, just saying, look, just bear in mind that we've got your cost per app download spot on. I can't promise it's going to stay like that. It could double, triple, because they were spending too much time trying to develop their Android version. But when I look at the costs, Android are like they're aiming for £1.50 an app download. I have the iOS between £1.50 and £1.80, which they're happy with. Android's coming in like £1. So it's like you can get half again of the downloads for the same price by getting them on Android. So we're all, so as managers, we're going to say at the end of the day, I couldn't give two hoots whether they're on Android or on iOS. All we care about is selling and whatever we're doing for our clients and ourselves. If we have to just put everything good to go to iOS, Android, because that's where everything's working for us, then that's the way it is. But like you said, I think it was just a conversation between us the other day on this Apple thing. It's like all they've done is create bad usability. People don't mind the fact that they a conversation gets listened to, or Facebook picks up on a website they've been to, because Facebook has always shown really, really, really relevant information and ads. Like, it's super clever, isn't it? If you need a pair of wellies, it shows you a pair of wellies. We all have it and we've all bought from it, and it's brilliant. All the Apple thing is going to do, and this isn't just when you're on Facebook, this is just being within other apps that you might be in, it's just going to make that app not as targeted towards you. You're going to start seeing features that aren't really what you need to see and things like this. So it just makes the usability a bit crap.
And yeah, nail on the head. And I don't know if people, when they get that message to opt out, opt in, know that. I don't know if they do, because and what I hope will happen is that we may see a massive drop in people that want to be advertised to, and then what I think would be really cool if Facebook do almost like an opt-in campaign, something like, you know, notice how you're getting served all these crappy ads, you might want to opt back in. Because I think a lot of people, I think, are au fait with how it all works, but I think there's probably a lot of people that still don't really get why they're getting that ad.
Are people not annoyed with being on Facebook and Instagram? It doesn't annoy people. I think the stats say like 68% buy something on Facebook and Instagram that they didn't know existed, and like 72% don't mind advertising.
Really
that's because it's good.
Yeah.
When it's shit, you mind it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that I'm kind of hoping people will, you know, decide to opt back in, because you can opt back in. It's not like a permanent thing. If you want to opt back into getting targeted as you can.
No.
The other thing.
Go on. You go.
No, I was going to change the subject.
No, you go. Oh wait. Is that, remember, we've still got the number one events, haven't we? So the really, really important information that Facebook wants is people who download something, who buy something, who opt in for something. That information is still being sent back. So even though Joe Blogs opted out, if your event if he's gone onto your website that sells bikes, he's opted out of getting anything. If he purchases, that information is still sent back to Facebook. That's correct, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, you get one event, which is what was so important about the prioritizing of the pixel events.
Yeah.
And, you know, and we've spoken about this before, some companies won't, with the attribution window, won't even really like notice a difference. Like if you're like a low ticket product that you sell, it's likely that people just buy in the moment anyway. So the drop off in the attribution window changing may not impact you. It really does depend on the company. I think for me, a lot of what I do is lead gen, and a lot of that you kind of, especially with like a free opt-in, you're either opting in or you're not.
Yeah.
And when we compared the attribution windows, that there wasn't actually much of a difference. So it's interesting that, you know, this one particular client, it has dropped off so significantly. So that's just one that I'm going to have to keep an eye on, really.
One of the things, before you change the subject, one of the things I'll change it to slightly, and I want to do a video of this actually in the group, and I was going to do a video for the channel as well, is that I noticed that, and it's not on everyone, I've got to basically wait until a client has it, otherwise I can't show it properly, but is the domain name. So you know how we've been saying for ages that you have to go and verify your domain name. So even if the domain name has been verified, when you go to your ad page, you know how where it shows you where the pixel is, you now have to choose the domain as well. And last week I was pulling my hair out, couldn't figure it out. And then I saw that and I was like, that's what you're doing. So it's a little drop down now. So if people are worried thinking, why is my ad just not running? And it says, there's an ad problem and edit here, because you actually have to choose your domain in the ads above the pixel now. Some of them have been done by default already.
As in, like when you're creating the ad, so in the actual, so you've got like campaign ad set and then ad in there where you
got your creative and everything like that. And at the bottom bit, you've got your pixel. There's another one by default, which is the website. And you have to choose the website URL that's been verified. That's now that's now a little drop down. That took me ages. What I'm going to do is when I next come across a client that needs to be done, I'm going to record a video and stick it in the group so people know what I'm talking about. But at the moment, you're going to see the warning sign unless I can't create the warning sign. So it doesn't help.
Good tip. Just want to say hi to Reem and to Hannah. Hannah's listening in, Nick.
Hi, Hannah.
And she's panicking about iOS. So do you have any words of wisdom to help Hannah in her panic?
Don't
panic. We're all in it together. We'll work it out.
It's going to like we said on this podcast, it's just going to take some time and just roll with it. Manage clients' expectations. Make them realize that they need to do. I think the time has come, whether it's Facebook, whether it's Instagram, whether it's other platforms out of the Facebook group, they're all effective. Like this isn't just Facebook. This is everything. This is Snapchat. This is TikTok. This is everyone. It's basically every app that is on an iPhone is having the same problem. We're just advertisers. Is that the clients need to, and you can as well, if you're working on behalf of the client, need to take action in working some of the sums out for them. Whether that's Google Analytics, it might be that you need to set up UTMs. Matt, does a UTM still work on after the 7-day attribution window?
This is something I'm not entirely sure on yet. I need to do a little bit more digging.
So for those who are going, what are they now talking about? Basically, again, on the ad page, when you're creating your ad, you've got where the destination URL, and you put the destination URL in it. Underneath that, it says something along the like build URL perimeters, I think, doesn't it? When you open that, it gives you 4 areas, which I think is source, campaign. I don't know what the other 4 off the top of my head, other 2 are. But this is where you set up a UTM. So let's say you've got
channel, I think.
Yeah. So let's say you've got www.letsrunsocial.com. That's where we're sending our traffic to our homepage. When we build a UTM parameter, it means we can put in Facebook, paid ads, and then maybe something else. Let's say it came from a video, we could put video in there. It changes your URL in Facebook. Now the consumer doesn't see this, but Facebook is now changed the URL. So what you can do is you can go into Google Analytics and you can go into the sources area and it will tell you the URLs that have been pulling in your orders or leads, and you'll be able to see where it's come from. My question to Matt then was, will that still work even after a 7-day attribution? Because you can still see, if everyone gets into the habit of putting a UTM on automatically, you'll be able to see, okay, well, even though Facebook Ads Manager said I only had 5 orders this week, the amount of URLs with that UTM on it says 11. So I'm going to go by that, take your ad spend off, work out your return.
Yeah,
that could be one way around.
It allows you to reverse and like do it the opposite way around. It's the same with if you're e-com in Shopify as well. If you use UTMs, you can go into Shopify and you can actually see based on UTMs, which will essentially just tally what you're doing. And Facebook Ads Manager will be able to show you who is adding to cart, who's actually purchasing, and things like that. It's understanding how and when that data feeds through.
Yeah, but in answer to Hannah's question, she's worried about iOS 14. It's not going to make any. It's not your audience. The only thing that's going to really be happening is, and you see the alarms on your ads manager, is that the audience that you had previously is now smaller, and that's only for the reason being that Facebook is now, if they've opted out, if you've got 100 people in that audience and 4 of them have opted out, you've now got 96 in the audience. And Facebook has just said, do you realize that your audience is now dropped? If it's dropped too much, you can see it on the left-hand side in a little graph. right hand side in the little graph, and just mix around the audience a bit. We're all just going to have to do a bit of that, but we haven't seen. I mean, because Matt and I with our audiences for our clients, we're always trying to get to about 1.5 million per audience. Even if it drops out by a third, we're still getting 1 million people. And unless guys, you're one of the very few 5% advertisers in this planet who is spending 2, 10, 30, 40, 50,000 pounds a day on your ad spend, 1 million people in an audience is a lot. So I just wouldn't worry about it. We're not worrying about it, are we? We're just dealing with what the day brings, and we haven't seen our ads drastically change, really. Touch wood, if you believe in that.
No.
We haven't.
It's not like across the board, is it? It might just be that this particular client is a bit of an anomaly.
Yeah.
You know?
But the rental company we deal with, that is a bit like Star Trek. Theirs is exactly the same. Their stats are down last week. Their stats are up. So as over the last however long during lockdown, obviously they're trying to rent vehicles. They've been on a cost of, I don't know, towards 35, 30, 40p, pounds per app download. And that's come down to last week was 28. So that hasn't taken effect. They're still downloading the app. So yeah, I wouldn't worry too much. I think if your ads aren't working now because you set up new ads and you're finding those ads aren't working, I think it's really nice to be able to say, must be the iOS 14. It's not. I don't think it is. I think you need to go back to the drawing board, go through the tactics that Matt and I are always talking about, look at your copy, look at your creative, make sure you've set the right conversion objective and you're not doing traffic and you're doing the right conversions. Make sure your ad resonates and go through the simple checklist of writing a really bloody good ad that makes people want to buy your bloody product. iOS 14 has just narrowed the audience size from 2 billion to 1.7 billion. It's not the end of the world. I think we just all got to stay positive and just think it's just going to carry on.
I think so it's not, and it doesn't necessarily mean if you are seeing a drop off on your campaign that it's because of the rollout of iOS 14 in terms of what that actually means in terms of people opting out of advertising. It's just the magnitude of changes in terms of like the actual like setup and tech and that little thing that you just mentioned, like all of those little things. I think it's just making sure that you've done all of that because it can make it look like it's not working when it is. Like tracking for the wrong thing and not having your pixels optimized properly in terms of the priorities, like all of that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, making sure the lead events are on the right places.
That's it. Yeah.
I had to go into a landing page. So, some of our clients want to do their own landing pages themselves. They want to optimize the Facebook events themselves. Fine, go for it. Usually we end up picking the pieces up afterwards. And, for a week there's been spending money. They said they set the events up, and then we look at it and go, why have they use that event on it? And then secondly, one of them this morning was, hey, click here to register your interest. The page it took them to wasn't a page to register your interest and then learn more about the product. It was to book your bloody thing in. Oh, this is a car thing. So you're booking your car into the garage. It's like, hold on. So register your interest, book car in. It's like, do you wonder why you're not getting any leads? Because it's just like you're taking them literally. You've taken a girl out on a date, and an hour later you're saying, look, when do you want to get married? You've got to warm these things up. At least 2 dates.
Yeah, at least 2, maybe a couple of text messages in between.
Yeah, and then you're in the right place to ask questions like that. But until then, just easy, tiger, easy. So just make sure those things are all set up. Make sure your funnel's set up, and just chill out about it. There's nothing to stress about. We're calm as anything.
Yeah. The other thing to remind people of is that you now can no longer track like demographics and like the platforms and things like that, in terms of your pixel events. So you can still look at, you know, what age group is clicking, but in terms of then that person going on to complete the desired objective, we can no longer track that now. So that again is then, you know, looking at like your Shopify analytics, because, you know, that will have that data in it to tell you who the people are that are buying your products, and then you have to kind of just do a bit of back and forth with the actual data that you're seeing in the back end.
Yeah, I had one. I haven't looked into this anymore. I was actually going to get your view on it and have a look at the account. But I've got a video views campaign going on that I want to collect them in an audience. Now, a little tip for anyone who does video views and wants to collect them in an audience: turn off audience network. When Facebook likes firing videos into audience network, which is basically ads outside of Facebook. The minute that video ad goes outside of Facebook, Facebook has, not even to do with iOS 14, it has never had any tracking capabilities. So it means that your video views aren't being collected. And if Facebook suddenly favors audio, if Facebook suddenly goes, oh, everyone outside of Facebook's really engaging with this video, and you leave it running and spend $3,000 on video views, and then go to video view audience and go, why is there only 100 people in here? That's why. So I always just get into the habit of always turning, if you're trying to build an audience based on people who've watched a video, turn off audience network. But I've done that. And when I set up the ad the other day, Matt, there's no, you know, when you go to build an audience, choose video views, choose the client, choose what you want to do, collect 25% video views, yeah? And then it shows the videos. You have to choose the videos you want to go from. All of the videos I had to choose from, which were 6, had no views. Yeah, on the Facebook Ads Manager, it says there was 18,000 views in a day. Can you have a look, please?
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, Matt and I do this a lot. This is the really nice thing, is that as soon as any of us have a problem in our teams, there's always someone. And I completely feel for everyone listening to this who doesn't have this, that it's that shoulder to cry and we'll go, what's, like I've just done then. You need that. You want that person just to go, oh, that's why that happened.
But that's why we've got the ads clinic.
Well, we've got the ads clinic, Matt. I wasn't going to do it. I wasn't going to do it. You did it for me.
I don't know what. Yeah, but that's it now. That's the only mention.
Because we're not just going to keep on telling everyone about the ads clinic where we go on and help people fix people's ads and get them the return they want to, for 2 to 4 calls a month. We're not going to put ads out like that.
No, and generate 10K in 7 days and stuff like that.
No, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, so I will have a look at that. I will have a look at that for you, Nick.
I think we're done talking about stuff we don't have the answers for. I hope it's helped some people just think about it.
I think it's just don't panic and look at data outside of Ads Manager to see what's really going on. Is my thing.
Don't be scared of the numbers and rely on us to tell you what's good and what's bad. You need to try and get. You don't have to be a data geek. You just need to just understand your business. This is your business, isn't it?
Exactly. It kind of is, I think, going to be a bit of a nudge that needed to happen anyway for some businesses that are just looking at Ads Manager and not the whole picture of, you know, what's going on. And if I was to give like a ad setup tip in terms of all of this stuff, and I think going on what you've just said about video views, I think we might see a shift, or it might benefit us going forward if we are looking at more retargeting techniques that are on Facebook retargeting, if that makes sense. So like retargeting people that have watched videos, or retargeting people that are engaging with our pages and our content, because it, you know, when it's retargeting website visitors and people further into the funnel that relies on a pixel, that's where it might come a bit unstuck.
Maybe that's episode 30. Maybe episode 30 we should do retargeting. We've done we like a retargeting hack. Maybe we should just go down into the nice little list of different ways that you can retarget. Because people don't, we don't like. We'll come up with. We love it. We're loving retargeting videos at the moment, aren't we? We're loving it. Getting loads of, and it's not new. We're talking about it 2 years ago, but it's a really good way, especially if you do it on a 7-day stack or just a 7-day video view, so people have seen it. And if you've got loads of traffic, do it on like a 1-day video view, where they see it straight away. You always notice that with the big boys. When you go onto a big boy website, like wiggle.com for bikes, or you go onto Wayfair, which we always mention for home decor, those companies have so much traffic that like literally you just go onto a website, go onto Instagram 2 minutes later, and you're seeing an advert from those companies. That's because, you know, and loads of our clients go, I want to do that. And it's like, well, you can do that, but you're only spending 10 quid a day bringing traffic in. You're not going to do it. You've got to be spending it. You've got to have a lot of traffic on your website to be able to show different ads on different days. That's great mentality, but your website, your traffic's not there yet, and may never be.
Sometimes you just might not need to do that either.
Exactly. Okay, so well, that's episode 30. Thanks for that. We've just decided what the next episode is going to be like. Usually it's 5 minutes before. This is a week.
You are welcome. Cool. Well, I think that's that's then.
Yeah.
Just and if anybody does have any further questions on any of this stuff, or you just want to, you know, chat to us or others in a similar position, then there is the Facebook group, which is just Let's Run Facebook Ads. So just search that up on Facebook, and you'll see a replay of this. Or if you're listening to this on the podcast, you can see it on video format. Start to get confusing with these.
But there's loads to come in that group, aren't there? We've got lots of plans, haven't we, for the Facebook group? Because we don't want it just to be a Facebook group where, you know, we can hold our hands up now. You know, not loads goes on it, but this sort of stuff. You know, but we're getting a lot of followers and people joining the group quite regularly now, and we really want to make it like a place to be, and you're going to learn a lot from it. So that is all in the pipeline. We're just having to restructure everything. We've got a lot to do. You know,
a lot to do. There is a lot to do. But yeah,
coming, so
I'm excited for that. So yeah, if there is anything that you guys want to see happening in the group, let me know, because I'm working on a plan.
Yo. Okay. Thanks for listening, everyone. And we'll see you next week for the next one.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.